And that just all goes back to, if you had 365 days to chase your dreams and do whatever you wanted with your life, how would you spend the time? I brought the whole bottle out for this one. Shit. My mom said it was made by Snoop Dogg. Who knows? So if you are a new, welcome, or if you're a returner, welcome back to the Shaniyah Diaries. This is not your normal mental health podcast. It's also a little bit of lifestyle too. We talk about mental health, entrepreneurship, elevation, and everything that comes with being 20-something, trying to make it in this world. I'm literally getting better with my little slug and Okay, so this one's definitely gonna be a doozy because I sold all of my shit and moved to Atlanta. Literally threw away or sold the majority of my shit and moved to Atlanta. That's why you see the difference in background. I decided to record outside. Let's get some vitamin D going on because I've been inside the house the past 2 weeks. So I didn't even get to I had a whole plan on how I was gonna break it and Shaniya's in Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, if you're not romanticizing your life and feeling like you're the main character, I don't know what to tell you. But everything in my life seems like another episode of the Carrie Diaries. I don't give a fuck. Ugh, I don't even know where to start because it's so much. If this wasn't just a rash decision, this wasn't just let me move to Atlanta, this is gonna be lit, I'm gonna party and have fun. None of that actually was going on. I guess it's just one of those phases in life where you need to take a huge step back to take a monumental leap forward. I'm just waiting on that leap. So I've been out here 2 weeks. Nobody's fucking friendly. Let me take off my glasses. It's getting bright. Nobody's friendly out here. In Texas, we have, Southern hospitality. People are very nice. Do not make fun of my 2 eyelashes that I have going on here. But it's a little bit more welcoming. Out here, nobody gives a fuck. They're rude as fuck to your face. It's really, not my vibe. I was saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, to, the bartenders, and they were looking at me did you call me old bitch? I'm like, shit, G. No. My mom went to a couple bars, really that's all it's consisted of. And then getting the cats used to each other, that has been hilarious as fuck. I almost want to make a whole TikTok channel just for these cats and how they've been getting along. It's actually hilarious. Yeah, it's been kind of hard only being around my mom and the cats. And not even because of anything to do with them. I was like this at home. Whenever I'm in the house too much, I'm such a people person. If I don't have human interaction, then I start feeling stir crazy. So it's nothing against them. It's just damn, I'm trying to be around a couple young lit bitches, or I'm just trying to be around more people my age, more people aligned with where I'm at. But I need to give myself grace. I've literally only been here 2 weeks. I'm trying to take it all with a grain of salt. I found a nail shop that I really like though. Y'all, get into the material. Girl at the mall who's working to see Madden because I was returning my mom's shoes. She was the one who gave me the nail shop. So I'm trying to acclimate. It's just a little bit different. But let's get into the journal topic just so I don't stray too much. So grab your pen, a pencil, a journal, grab a snack, grab some wine, and let's get ready for the journal topic. I'm gonna put the journal topic on the screen. You can either respond in the comments or write them in the journal. I'm gonna answer out loud. I just want to create a community where we can be vulnerable about our feelings. Emotions are not taboo. So our journal topic for the week is, am I more afraid of failure or wasting time? Is both an option? Only because honestly, I'm more afraid of failure. At this point, I wouldn't have made the move if I was afraid of wasting time, because I'm literally about to spend a whole year trying to find myself, chase my dreams, chase my podcast dreams, and do everything that I would have done if I didn't have to grow up so early. I told myself when I made the decision, because I made this decision early January while I was on small term disability with my job, and I decided I would be more miserable if I continued wasting time working a job that I felt super unfulfilled at than taking the chance, quitting my job, throwing away all of my things, putting the rest in storage, and coming out to Atlanta and trying to chase my dreams and figure it out. I think I'm more afraid of not accomplishing what I want to accomplish / failure than wasting time. At this point, it's if I wasted time, it's shit. I'm only 25 with no kids and no man. So I'm gonna keep saying that. Every single time I doubt myself, I'm literally gonna be you're 25, single, no kids, no man. You can't fail right now. I feel that's the quickest I've answered a journal topic in a while. So drop your response in the comments. If you're not comfortable, thank you, Elise, for making a safe space for me. Love y'all. So now let's get into the mental health segment of the podcast. So I talked about this in a couple of my podcast episodes about how hyper independence was my identity for a very long time. And I didn't realize it was my identity until I had the opportunity to give up the hyper independence. And then I felt like I would be a failure. When I was 22, I was dating this guy who was 42, and he told me I didn't have to work anymore. Yeah, blah, blah, whatever. So it's not I haven't been in a period where I just quit my job and just existed. So it's not that aspect, but it's the aspect of me like throwing in a towel. I've gotten to the point where I cannot handle this alone. So it's hard not feeling like a fucking loser, honestly. It's hard not feeling like a fucking loser after being on your own for 4 years, creating a life, getting all that furniture, getting a household, like creating a home, creating a community, and then leaving all of it. I think that should be like a testament to how powerful like mental health and grief is. Before all this happened, I was telling my therapist, the most happiest I've been in a very long time. Like, I feel so content. I feel like I could do anything. You know, look, nobody tell me shit. And then almost in a blink of an eye, all that changed to where I was reevaluating, like, what is my purpose? I'm 25, but it's like, damn, like, I don't know. It just made me like rethink a whole bunch of things. It was not a fun journey. Like, I really beat myself up a lot. Like, my internal bully, as I like to call it, my subconscious, was not letting up on me. Bitch had me in a chokehold. Like Tinka and the it was hard to like leave my friends, leave my life, leave the struggle, honestly. Nobody talks about how addicting the struggle is and how scary it is to imagine you successful. Because it's like, when you do finally get successful, what are you gonna do? Who's going to be around you? What are you going to invest in? What are you going to spend your time doing? All of those things, it's like things you have to figure out. Like I've said before, that I've known that I've meant to win and be somebody since I was a kid. But I've also been told by outside forces that, you know, I didn't deserve it, or nothing ever against my talent, but just against if I deserve to have it or not. That really fucks with me a lot, to where like now my internal bully is like, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve to take a break and follow your dreams. You need to tough it out like everybody else. You don't get to take the easy way out. But it's like, why fucking not? Why not me? My therapist was telling me, like, she was like, if you were a rich Nepo baby, nobody would be questioning you. Nobody would have 2 cents to say to you by you deciding to like just sell all your shit and go home. It wouldn't matter. So like, why does it matter to you now? And I feel like it matters because when you root an identity in something, you're not realizing who you are naked without all those things. Who are you without the struggle, without the job, without the friends, without the community, without anything? I had to start figuring out, like, who is Shaniyah, like, at the core? And do I like her? And if I don't like her, what do I want to change about her? So that's what this journey has definitely been opening up for me, because there's a lot of things I want to change about myself. I've been trying to get more into fitness again because I realized playing sports when I was younger, it was such a good relief for me. The past really 6 years since I graduated, or let's just say like 4 years, because that's when I officially stopped playing basketball. I had not worked out consistently like in a while, to the point where I was like, can I even work out? And then I developed health issues, and then all that other stuff that just prevented me from doing that. Working out is something. Eating healthy. I was making so much money at one point that like I didn't even care to cook. Like, not even because I couldn't cook, because y'all know. If you don't know, you gonna figure it out. Your girl can cook, like, really fucking good. I was tired of eating fucking hamburger helper and rice all damn day, so you gotta learn how to cook eventually. It was to the point where it's like, a wealth thing. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I had so much money. It's like, why should I have to cook? Like, I really shouldn't have to. I definitely think I got caught up living a rich life before I was actually rich. Like, I started getting a little bit of money and a little bit of traction, and bitch lost her fucking marbles. It was not tea, but it takes a real person to be honest about it. Like, I was spending so much money on like food and other shit. It was just like, damn, like, you're crazy. So it's like tapping back into the part of me who likes to cook. I actually love cooking. It's such a huge stress reliever. And like, I love eating good food, even though I don't eat that much. One thing my brother told me before I moved out here, I saw him probably about like 2 days before I moved all of my stuff. He told me, this is what you get. Like, we were in my empty apartment, and he was like, this is what you get when you're comfortable. Look around, take it all in, because it's everything you built. You should be proud of it. You have everything you wanted and you built for yourself. But also, this is where you got comfortable. This is where you got not chase your dreams and doing what you need to do. So go out there, chase your dreams, and see where life takes you. That was one of the most empowering statements. I still like internalize it. Whenever I start to feel a little down on myself, I think about that. I think about how when I first like even considered this, I asked myself, like, what would you do if you could chase your dreams for a year? What would your everyday look like? What would you look like? What kind of person would you want to be? And that person, whether she's rich and successful or not, is a person that I'd like to be. So even thinking about that, so where I can internally make a choice every day to get the fuck up and show up for myself. Because now I'm not showing up for an apartment and a car and this and that. I'm literally showing up for me as an individual. And that is such a privilege that I'm so grateful for. And sometimes it doesn't always feel like a privilege, especially again with the negative voice in my head. It's like, sometimes I feel like, damn, it's hard because like anybody who knows me personally, they've all told me, you deserve this. If anybody deserves this, you deserve it. But it's hard because it's like, I know I deserve it, but I know that I can also tough a lot of shit out. But it's like, even if you know you can tough a lot of shit out, why would you if you don't have to? So that's been That's been interesting. This was not like a decision out of nowhere. I was actually probably maybe about a year or two ago, I was talking to London and I was like, yeah, I'm not meant to be in Dallas anymore. Like, I literally was like, I'm finna up and leave. It was before I signed my new lease to my apartment and everything. I was like, what if I just moved to a whole different state? I don't know. I'm a nomad. I never feel at home anywhere because I've never really had a home. So for me, it's like, you can put me anywhere and I adapt and I create the best out of that situation. So I already knew I wanted to move, and I had 3 places on my mind. I had the DMV, Chicago, or Atlanta. And Atlanta was only on my list because my mom had been telling me for like the past like 2 years since she moved out here that I should move to Atlanta, be closer around the family. There's hella opportunity out here, etc., etc., etc. But I was like, fuck no, because I didn't want to be around my family. Like, that was like my biggest reason. I just didn't want to be around my family. Too much drama, too much chaos, like no. And so I was thinking about the DMV area, so I was researching a little bit, talking to people about it a little bit. But then I was really leaning towards Chicago to the point where even when I started my finance corporate job in the fall, so I was looking to transfer to their subsidiary in Chicago and work with more institutions on the finance side. And so I was super interested in that. I was following that career path. That's where my mind, heart, and soul was set to go to. I was never supposed to be in Atlanta, or not. Let me not say never, because clearly I'm here. But in my head, it was always Chicago. I told my mom, like, yeah, I'm going to go to Chicago. I'm going to figure it out, blah, blah, blah. I need to figure out how I can make the money to afford to live there, get the job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I got back from Christmas break and God was like, no, not Chicago, Atlanta, I was heartbroken. Past 2 years, I was like, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to Chicago or the DMV. I'll visit Atlanta. Like, that's cool. I mentioned before, like, I don't really like Atlanta. Very fake out here to me. It's very disingenuine, if that's even a fucking word. Like, it's not my cup of tea. Like, I'm very chill, very laid back. But God just kept telling me, like, you need to go to Atlanta. And he said it the loudest when I first came to visit and we went to church. The church that we went to is a pastor that I've been listening to for maybe like 2 years in total. But I started listening to him more consistently, like, after my dad died. And when I say consistently, like, 3 to 4 times a week. I was trying to join their church from Texas. And he was a huge part in being able to get through the year. And so when I first stepped into that church, like when I was visiting, the feeling was unexplainable. Like, I felt so much love and so much compassion. And so, like, it felt at home. Right when I stepped in that church, I walked in and I was like, I'm supposed to move to Atlanta. I knew right in that moment I was supposed to move. But I didn't say anything to anybody because I was just praying to God, let me know if this is real or not. Like, I don't want to just say that, like, I'm going to move out here. I don't want to just think that I'm hearing something that I'm not actually hearing. And so I ended up going back home and I ended up going back to work and going back to my regular life. And when I tell y'all, I felt so unfulfilled. It was terrible. Like, I literally was like, if this is what reality is going to be, I want no parts of it. Like, this cannot be my life. And again, not because it's a bad life, because before I left, I was content with it. I was like, shit, I just got to climb the corporate ladder. I've never been a corporate ass bitch though, ever. But I was more okay with, like, okay, this is just going to have to be the journey to get to this point. And when I came back and after talking to God and just really praying on it every single day, multiple times a day, my spirit was disrupted. It was as if, like, no, you can't be here. You gotta go. Like, it was to the point where, like, I'm talking to people and I'm just getting frustrated. I'm getting mad. I'm, like, having to, like, write what my, like, dream life would be as a method to cope while I was at work because I was just that upset. And of course, you know, corporate jobs, like, they change shit consistently. Like, so then the metrics on my job changed to where that was making me unhappy too. And I was trying to deal with it. I'm like, you just gotta tough it out. You gotta tough it out. The end of your lease is in February. You just gotta tough it out. So I'm just sitting here journaling every day while I work. My backpack was fat as fuck. So I had like 4 different journals in that bitch. Like, just trying to just cope and trying to, like, make myself feel like it's okay. Like, you can get through this. Until finally one day, like, I just exploded and I just could not do it anymore. That was January 15th, I think. January 15th or 16th. From then, I went on short-term disability with my job for mental health reasons. If anybody's going to be talking about mental health, I definitely am going to be one of those people because it affects every aspect of my life. I was on short-term disability. I even felt bad for that. Like, they have short-term disability for things like this, and I still was sitting there like, Shaniyah, you're taking advantage. You're taking advantage of the system. Think about all the other people who could be sitting here at home right now. You're sitting here like, girl, They should file for short-term disability too then. What the fuck? Like, that whole journey was just like so. And so from there, I just started the process of getting myself mentally ready to move to Georgia. Because it wasn't just a move for me. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I've been working to get my finance certifications for 2 years. I got my certifications, got the job that I wanted, got the pay that I was looking for. And just like throwing it all away, it's almost like feeling fucking crazy. How do you not feel crazy? The career, the pay, the everything that you thought you wanted, and then to just give it up. I literally was like, am I being manic? I definitely could be being manic right now. But I still went with it because, like I said, fucking YOLO, 25, no kids, no man. And honestly, that's just the silly way I justify it. Like, in all seriousness, it still feels uncomfortable. It still feels weird. I just try not to like harp on the fact that it feels weird all the time, I guess. So one thing I feel a part of my journey was that like I moved away because of family. Like I just couldn't be around my family. It was just too much for me. I didn't feel supported nor seen nor respected nor appreciated. And I told myself, honestly, I was like, I'm never moving back with my family again after this. Like I'd rather struggle. I've been learning though, with me trying to gain a closer relationship to God is like forgiveness and understanding. I feel like both me and my mom needed the past 3 years of me being on my own because in turn, it helped us be able to work on ourselves individually. Those journeys were not pretty though. We're not perfect humans. We're not perfect by any means, honestly, but it's the effort. It's the effort. And it's like, you don't know when somebody's going to show up, but like appreciate that they do if they ever do, because they don't have to. My mom didn't have to do the work. She chose to do the work. And in turn, it allowed me to feel like I had a safe space to come and be in this environment. A message to someone who is struggling with their relationship with their parents, because I know that when I first posted like me leaving California, going to Texas, having the messed up relationship with my mom, a lot of people hit me up and they felt validated by my experience. They were going through similar things. What I like to say to those people is always be open to change. But change doesn't start unless there's change on both sides. So obviously, if one side is not changing, stand on it. I stood on it with certain family members and I don't give a fuck. I don't feel bad about it. But for the ones who are changing, evolving, and trying to grow with you, I feel like you owe it to them and yourself to give it a try. We only have one life. We're all human. And I think in my timing alone, I realized my mom is just a girl. She's literally just a girl. And she says it all the time, but like, we've all only lived this life once. So give yourself some grace. Give the people around you grace, depending on what they did. We're not talking about murderers, physical, sexual abusers like that. No. There's a limit to what I'm talking about. Like, let's be reasonable. If you want like a brief synopsis on like all of 2024, go to my TikTok. I posted like a little brief like timeline about what's been going on. It was supposed to be a motivational post, but it honestly made a lot of people cry. But it's okay because that means that they were touched. And as long as you were touched, that means you got the message. So we talked about the mental health. Let's get to the elevation segment of the podcast. So one thing that's helping me get out of the rut of overthinking and getting overstimulated with my decision to move back home was talking to people who kind of had similar journeys and seeing what they did with their time and seeing what they did that were game changers to elevate them to the point that they are now. So one of the people that I've talked to was my friend Isa. And it's so funny because I've known her since she was a freshman in high school. We played on the same basketball team together for I think like 2 or 3 years. Oh my gosh, my memory is terrible. Like 2 or 3 years, but we both won our CIF championship together. She was the one who gave me my little senior night basket, orangutan gang for life. This last year when I was going through everything I was going through, Isa moved back with her parents, already doing content creation and UGC, and then she had an Airbnb. An Airbnb at like 19, 20 years old. Like, Isa was on that shit. All while paying for herself, traveling abroad by the social media content that she was doing. So she did a whole lot. A whole lot. So when she decided to go back home, she kind of explained to me what she did to change her life to the point now that she has a social media agency for real estate. If you haven't heard of Isa, go follow her. She's so motivational. She was the one who made me realize I need a business mentor. I need to go to networking events. I need to start putting myself out there. I've never had a problem being authentic or genuine, but I have had a problem sometimes putting myself out there. So the fact that Isa was able to give that to me and pour into me like that, it helped me so much because her whole journey, I was sitting here behind the screen inspired, like, dang, if only I did this when I started my social media management company when I was living on my own and working at the bar 70 hours a week and still taking clients. Like, it was extremely hard. Very valuable lessons though. It was so worth it. So worth it. And I wouldn't give up that experience literally for the world. but it prohibited me from doing what I need to do. So it's like seeing Isa, like, it wasn't like, I'm not even an envious person. It wasn't even envy. It was pure inspiration. That girl is a go-getter. She even had like a series where she woke up at 4 a.m. every day just doing work. Like, that girl. She has a series right now. If you need a little bit of inspiration, follow her series. I think it's called Posting Every Day Till I Create My $1 Million Business. This girl's on the way. After a year of like what she's been doing, she's on the way. Like, I'm so excited to be able to even know her because now she's almost like my mentor. Like, she's someone I look up to. She kind of gave me the fire under my ass to be like, girl, you know who the fuck you are. Just show up for yourself. Being able to talk to her, oh my gosh, it was so monumental to my healing, to my process of even making this decision and just continuing to believe in myself. I'm one of those people where sometimes I'm too humble. Like, I don't see myself. So when my friends are able to pour into me or give me advice or things like that, it helps me be a little bit more like, it just helps me realize things for what it is. So I'm eternally grateful for her. I also have a friend out here named Miriam, and she has a company. I honestly don't even know how to pronounce it, but I will put it on the screen. She's actually having an event in I think a day or two, but she has events out here. Like, she does so much out here for her business. And so it's like being able to talk to her and seeing how, like, you know, how she's been being at home and how it's helped her align her life the way that she wants it to be. It's beautiful. And on top of that, she's a God-fearing woman. I know her business. I don't even want to misspeak on her business. So all I'm going to do is tag her page. But I like how everything that she does is aligned with God. A lot of us stray so far from God and our belief systems because, you know, life is unfair. So sometimes it's like, well, if God is real, why does this happen? Honey, because free will. He gives it to everybody. So free will, actions have consequences. That doesn't make anybody less or more blessed than somebody else. It's just the cards you were dealt. And it's hard to just say, okay, that it is what it is. Okay. It's hard. Shit. It took me a long time to do it. Once you get to that point, it's so worth it. Like, not being a victim of your circumstances is so worth it. You can create your life into absolutely anything you want it to be. Look at me getting excited. Look, you see the fire, the energy I got just talking about my friends and how much they poured into me. Like, oh my gosh, even my friend London, like, she's one of my best friends, is in hair school right now. She's been having her business, but she's putting herself through hair school and paying for it all by herself. Foundation, the quality is so tea. It's so tea. If you are in Texas, you better go book with a hair dungeon. Like, shameless plugs. My other best friend, she also lives in Texas. Her name's Raven. She has an esthetician suite. Like, right before I left, I got to go to her suite. If you haven't watched my vlog, my moving away vlog, she did my facial and waxed my armpits before I left. Her studio is beautiful. I did the promo video for her. It's absolutely stunning. All of my friends are on something. Raven doesn't live with her parents, but she was in the military for a little bit, so she took a different route. Long story short, though, she set herself up to be able to chase her dreams. I got a group of powerful ass, badass women around me. My mom, options trader. Like, I'm learning how to options trade out here. A group of badass women surrounding me. Like, when I tell y'all, it gives me the strength that I never knew I needed. Because again, I've always been like a person who's been so solo and so like focused on myself, don't want to tell nobody too much, whatever. I felt like everyone hated me, so I didn't want to, like, you know, all internal conflict bullshit. They've definitely helped me elevate out of this, like, sunken feeling about moving. So another piece that helped me elevate is Ramit Sethi. And if you don't know who Ramit Sethi is, I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name. He wrote a book, How to Get Rich, and then he also just released another book called How to Get Rich for Couples. He talks about personal finance, things like that, and investing. I started listening to him when I got into the finance space because I was always so interested in personal finance. My last company I worked with, I was working with retirement income, but before that, I was working in personal finance. So to be able to listen to him was huge because I loved how he simplified finance in a way that where everyone could understand it. All that to say, one of the things that he says is you need to write your CSP, which is a conscious spending plan, but you also need to write down what your rich life will look like. And so, you know how I said that I was at work and I was constantly journaling just to cope? I was constantly journaling what my rich life will look like because journaling is a huge coping mechanism for me. I do not feel like myself when I keep bottling shit up and I can't journal or I won't journal. Half the time is that I won't journal. I be too like in my head. Ramit Sethi is a great person to listen to because every single podcast episode, he asks the couples, what does your rich life look like? And it's not even based off of monetary value. It's like what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you feel happy, successful, etc. And so I was writing down my rich life and I realized that everything I wrote in my rich life is stuff that I can do if I move to Georgia and just submit to the Lord and his plan and just submit to like not my own understanding but leaning onto his. Like, y'all, with writing all that down and just I literally reread it on my way here. On my way to Atlanta. Every single thing I wrote on that list, I'm doing right now. And I'm so proud to say that. I'm so proud to say that I'm living my rich life. Even if it doesn't feel rich every day, I am living my rich life every day. I won't allow anybody or anything, including myself, to steal this joy. And like I said, it's not joyous every day. It's not Atlanta. It's what Atlanta represents for me, I feel like. That's been helping me elevate out of the fucking funk. And that just all goes back to, if you had 365 days to chase your dreams and do whatever you wanted with your life, how would you spend the time? I think that should be another journal topic for today, honestly. Like, write that down. If you guys still have your journal out, write that down. What would your dream life look like? Chase after that. Do whatever you need to do to get it, because we only have one life. And I refuse to live any other second of it miserable. Because one thing I can say is that if I take this year or however long I'm out here in Georgia and I do everything I need to do that I believe is going to make myself happy, make me successful, make my business successful, and it still doesn't work, I will be okay. I will be okay. If anything, I'll be happy because at least I was able to do it. At least I was able to try. At least I was able to know, okay, this is what God wants for me, is to sit in this office and build up the corporate ladder. Because I was been doing great at my corporate jobs. That is the thing. Like, I've never had any complaint. I've always excelled on everything they've ever asked me to do. But it was always so hard for me because I know I'm not meant to work for somebody. So why am I able to work so hard for somebody else, but not hard for myself? It's a self-sabotage. It's because it's hard, because what does it look like when Shaniyah finally wins? What does it look like when you finally win? Let's see. Let's stop procrastinating. Let's see. Like, what? And I know it's easier said than done. I trust me. I know it's easier said than done because I was the one who had to throw out all my shit and change my life and give up everything for this. So trust me, it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of relationship. It's coming from a place of relatability. If that's even how you word that. I can relate to being 20-something years old trying to chase your dreams. I can relate to being young in your 20s, having an apartment, not being able to afford your fucking bills and having to do what you gotta do to be able to eat. I can relate to being so broke you're eating rice and hamburger helper every day because you don't even know how to fucking cook. I can relate to working in bars and late ass hours and also trying to think of business ideas so you don't have to keep working like a fucking dog. I can relate to eventually liking it and being okay with being distracted from my dreams, because as long as I have money right now, then do my dreams really matter? And I could also relate to eventually realizing that life is unfulfilling and doing everything in my fucking power to change it. I can relate to that shit. So trust me, this is a safe space for you. This is a safe space for everybody who feels like they just gotta do it. You're not alone. You're never alone. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've also had to learn during this process. I'm not as alone as I felt like I was all these years. I'm not. Obviously, we can feel the fire that's under my ass. So now let's get to the segment of the podcast. So obviously, moving to Georgia brings big changes for myself and my business. I'm glad to say that I am investing in a business mentor out here in Atlanta. So that's really exciting for certified sippers and my social media management business, because now I'm out here, I'm in a bigger pond, I get to work with more people, and it's actually crazy because being out here, I've gotten more interested clients than I did in Texas. But obviously, I have more time to like market and put myself out there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've decided though that for my mobile bartending business, I'm going to continue running it out of Texas and Georgia. So I am going to get a LLC out here in Georgia as well. Just because after this time out in Georgia, I don't know where I'm going to go next. I don't know if I'm going to go to Texas. I don't know if I'm going to Chicago. I don't know if I'm going to go to New York. It's limitless. I'm telling y'all, like I'm just excited to be able to explore the world. Certified sippers, we run it out of 2 states. So I'm getting that together right now, doing my business taxes, making sure I file all the proper paperwork, and working with my business mentor to make sure that I can establish and make sure my business can function in both states. And one of the it's so crazy because my business mentor that I'm investing in, I've been listening to her podcast for like about a year. So I love, love, love her energy. I actually found her first on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Shameless plug. I love that podcast. Watch that podcast so we can talk about it. Like, damn, nobody wants to watch that podcast, but I love that podcast. So I found her Dear Future Wifey podcast, loved her personality, saw she was a businesswoman. Then I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah. So I've been listening to her for a straight year. So for Christmas, one of the Christmas gifts my mom got me was she's going to pay for 6 months of her mentorship, which was perfect because I was already signing up to pay for a year. So I'm like, we love to see it. So I'm super excited to see where she can help take my business in Atlanta, and even from like where I'm at personally, because obviously I'm not perfect. I feel like one of my growth points in my business is foundation and structure. The work and the quality is there, but it's like the systems. So I need help with the systems. I'm not afraid to admit that. So I'm super excited to see like what happens when I get a little bit more help. Another thing that I've been doing is I've been investing in options trading. So my mom has been a day trader for 3 years now, as well as a project manager. Girl is a superstar. She does a little bit of everything. While I was on disability with my job, I was studying. Like, what is the process? How does it work? A lot of people don't know, but when you work for a finance firm, you can't post certain things. You can't, like, you can't trade certain things. You have to report every single trade you do. And I don't like being controlled nor told what to do. So that's why I never traded when I was with my job. I kind of strayed from it. But now I'm at a point where I'm just like, all hands on deck. So it's super cool to have a mentor at home who can teach me, who's been doing it, who I can ask live questions. I'm also in Sierra Leah's Discord. If you heard anything about training on TikTok, you've seen her face at least once. I've seen it a couple times before I even decided to do it. She's a great teacher for beginners. She has so many videos, so much content, so many live Zooms. Like every day there's at least 6. Being in that community has helped a lot because that's also helping me gain and hone a skill so that I can use that to fund my businesses. Because before, I was trying to work a job to be able to pay my bills and fund my businesses. That was not working. We just need to build up more skills. That's something I'm also excited for because, like I said, I'm very interested in personal finance. For somebody who has a terrible relationship with money, we finna get it together. So that, so I could be like her, a millionaire in like 3 years. And so lastly, let's talk about my social media management and marketing business. So coming into the year, I was super stressed about it because I didn't know what market I was going to be going into. I've been very broad. So far, I've had a coffee company I worked for and some bars and stuff. I've made content, edited things for. Like if my friends send me content, I edit that for them and help them with their social media. That business was stagnant for 2 years because I was convinced I needed to get my finance certifications to be able to run that business the way I wanted to and to have more time. And that's not what happened. Honestly, like my commute to my job was 3 hours every single day there and back. Like I was tired as fuck most of the time. So that wasn't very realistic for that business. In turn, I thought like maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I need to drop it. I ended up meeting a client. He helped me find the fire for my business again. Everything was great. But he last minute canceled his contract due to personal reasons. And it sucks. It literally happened yesterday. So I'm telling you guys this like as it's happening. It sucks because, with social media, any social media manager knows you spend so much time, energy, like your vision, you like just everything. You put your whole everything into every single client you have. Or at least I do because I don't know. I would want somebody to do that for me. So when it happened, it really, really, really sucked. But I'm seeing the bright side of it. I was able to tap into a niche that I wasn't already tapped into. And it's a huge niche out here in Atlanta, music. I was able to do cover art. I was able to do like snippets. I was able to do so many things that I've never challenged myself to do. So like instead of looking at it as a negative, I'm like, damn, I got to learn new skills, hone in on other skills, and again, learn a new interest. Like now I'm interested in working with other artists. I have a couple other artists right now who are still waiting to hear from me back. I'm sorry if you're watching this. I'm literally going to hit you after I record this video. Like it's, again, systems. I'm working on it though. But yeah, all that to say, things are still up in the air with my businesses, but we're figuring it out. Like, trust and believe, it's getting figured out. Those are all super exciting things entrepreneur-wise that I'm super ready for. So all in all, we're calling this a rebrand. It's not looking too hot right now, but we're optimistic. So that's all that matters, honestly. I know it's going to work out because it has no choice but to work out because I'm going to make it work out. As for friends and stuff, I have people out here that I plan on connecting with. I'm really excited to keep connecting with more like-minded people. So that's always a win for me. But yeah, that's what's been going on. That's as real and as raw as I could put it. Your girl quit her job, said fuck this and moved to Atlanta. And so now I'm going to make Atlanta my bitch. Mic drop. And I'm going to do it the way God wants me to do it. Not the way I want to do it anymore, because clearly that don't work. If this resonates with you, that means God telling you to stop playing. You already know what to do. You already know what you need to do. So lock in. So you don't got to clock in. But I love you guys so much. If you got this far, don't forget to follow me on all of my socials. They're on the screen, as well as links to the last podcast episode. We talked about emerging out of Burnout Alley and what that even looked like for me. So if you're currently in burnout, definitely go and check that video out. I love y'all, and I'll see you next podcast episode. Oh yeah, and also we now uploading 2 times a week, a vlog and a podcast. So if you haven't already, go and subscribe. Okay, now bye.